Hello and welcome to this, the third in our series of videos on the SAP Hana Cloud Platform for the young Rewired state. My name's Steve Lofthouse from Sheffield Hallam University, and in this video we're going to cover setting up the development environment, building our first application and uploading it to the Hana Cloud Platform. Now there are a few things that we're going to be needing. We're going to need some downloads from the tools.hana.ondemand.com website. We're going to need our Hana Cloud Platform account from the account.hanatrial.ondemand.com website. We're going to need the Eclipse software and a file explorer. So let's open these websites up and bring this window over here so you can see it. And then let's open up our cloud account. Now then, we're going to log into our cloud account, and I just want to point out that we need to be logging into the cockpit section. Okay, so give it the username that we were given last time, whatever your username may be. And a password. And in we go. Now, we're going to be building software in Java. So if we move down to the Java application section of our Cloud Platform cockpit, we can see that at the minute there are no applications there because we've not built any. Now then, we need some tools, we need some downloads. We're building software in Java, so we need to download SAP's Java Software Development Kit, and we do this from the tools.hana.ondemand website, and we want the Java web. So it's just a matter of downloading that and accepting the license, and that will download. Now we also need the Java virtual machine. Now this allows us to test the software that we're going to build on our local machine, on our particular computer. So we need to download the version that's right for our operating system. I'm running on a Mac, so I'm going to download the Mac version. They're going to take a minute or two to download, so we'll come back when they've downloaded. Okay, so that's the software downloaded. So we can minimize this window and open our Explorer window, Finder. Now the software's been downloaded, or the plugins folders have been downloaded to our Downloads folder. So it's just a matter of copying them to somewhere else. Now I like to put these in the Eclipse folder. So pick these up and we'll put them in the Eclipse folder, and you'll see why that's a good thing to do in a moment. Okay, just copying those across. Brilliant. Okay, so now it's just a matter of diving into Eclipse and setting that up. So if we come and click on the Eclipse link, Eclipse will load, show us the workspace selection, and then we're off and away. Let's minimize this. Take the default workspace and Eclipse loads. Okay, so here we are with Eclipse. Now then, we need to configure Eclipse. We need to set Eclipse up, give it some settings so that it knows that we're working on Hana Cloud, that we're working with SAP software. Now in Mac we do that by going to Eclipse Preferences. In Windows you'd probably do Edit Preferences. So we go into the Eclipse Preferences, and then we need to find the Server section, which is here. So we'll expand this section, and we're interested in the Hana Cloud Platform, so we're going to this section here. Now then, maybe you've got these will come up already entered, or maybe you need to enter them. Your landscape host is hanatrial.ondemand.com. The SDK location is the folder where we just popped those two folders we've downloaded from the web. So in this case, it's in the Eclipse folder. So that was why it was a good idea to pop them in there. Our account name, your account name will be slightly different because you'll have your own code numbers, but your account name is the one ending trial, and your username is exactly the same, but without the trial on the end of it. So when you've entered all that information, you can click validate, and that will check that the information you've entered is correct and that everything works. And of course, we need to let Eclipse through the firewall, and that's telling me that there were no problems and that the page validated fine, so I can apply that. Okay, so that's the landscape setup. That's us telling it that we're going to be using a Hana Cloud Platform server. So the next thing we need to do is set up the runtime. And we're going to do that by going to the Server Runtime Environments tab, which is just here. Now, we're going to add a runtime environment. We're going to add the SAP Java. So we click Add, and it's a Java Web. If you remember, we downloaded the Java Web package. So we click Next, and again, we're going to say use that from this specific location, and it's the Eclipse folder where we copied those two folders to. Okay, so we can click Finish, and that's our Java Web runtime environment all set up. Okay, so now there's just one more thing to do, and that's to set up our virtual machine. So we'll just let Eclipse sort out the runtime environment and come back. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now we need to set up the virtual machine, and we're going to do that by going up here into Java, and then we're going to expand that, and we're going to have a look at install JREs, install Java runtime environments. Okay, you can see I've already done this here. So what you would do is click Add, Standard VM, click Next, and then where it says JRE Home, you're going to go to the Eclipse directory. You guessed it, and then you're going to open, and then you're going to say, oh, you're going to pick the right one. So we're going to go in there, we're going to go Applications, and then we're going to go into our Eclipse folder. And if you remember, this is the virtual machine, so we're doing the SAP JVM 7. I'm going to open that. And all these runtimes, these virtual machines are going to pop up. So we're just going to click and take that, and then we're going to click Finish. I can't click Finish because I've already installed it, so it's not going to let me install twice. Notice that I've put a tick in this little box here, so that this JVM, this Java virtual machine, is the default one. That's the one that will run when we click play, when we've built our software. So hopefully you've got that all sorted out. So we can just click OK, and then we can start building our very first Java application. Now then, SAP HANA Cloud Platform, it's a cloud platform, it lives in the web, so we need to build a web project. So, first things, we're going to click File, New, and we want a web project, a dynamic web project. And you'll notice that dynamic web project is not in this list. So if we click Other, we can search for it. Dynamic, oh, there we go. So we can pick Dynamic Web Project and click Next. Now we just need to give our project a name, and it's tradition in the world of software development that the first program that you build is always Hello World. Hello World. And Hello World is a really useful program for us because it's going to allow us to test all the connections between our computer, the Eclipse software, and our HANA Cloud Platform instance on the internet. Now I can leave everything else exactly as it is and just click Finish. And that's going to set up my web project for me. Now then, it's asking me if I want to look at or if I want to open the Java EE perspective. Now, a perspective is a setup of this Eclipse software, a way of displaying information. So I'm just going to click yes, and you'll notice that the Eclipse software changes the way that it looks. You'll see the task list disappears. This way, Windows got much bigger so that we can write code here. We don't have to worry about the error log at the bottom, because hopefully this software is going to be fine. So we get rid of that. Okay, now then, if we go to the Hello World root, just here on the left, and right click, we can select New and Servlet. I want a new servlet. And we're going to call this Java package Hello. We're going to give our class name Hello Servlet. And now we can click Finish. Or rather, we can click Next. Change things here if we want to. I don't, so we can click Finish. Okay, so Eclipse is going to generate a load of code for us, and we're interested in this section, the do get section. I want something to happen when somebody tries to come and get this particular page. And what I want to happen is for the page to say Hello World. So I want this little bit of code here. Response.getWriter, print line, Hello World. Well, as it's Java, we finish the line with a semicolon. So when somebody comes to get this page, I want the page to respond, response, getWriter, and print Hello World. Brilliant. So now all we need to do is save this by clicking the save icon, and then we want to run it on our local machine to make sure that it works. So we click the green play button. Now we're going to use our local machine, so we're using the Java web server because that one's on our local machine. So we make sure Java web server is selected and click Finish. Okay, so the Java web server is going to start up. We're going to let it through the firewall, and then our page is going to load. And if you look in the bottom right hand corner, you can see what's happening here. The page is being published to the server, and here we are. This is the server, it's our local server, it's local host, and you can see Hello World. So we know that this page works. Brilliant. So now we can transfer that to the Hana Cloud platform, and we can run it on the Hana Cloud platform. So notice that this says local host, Hello World. Okay, if we close this page and then press the play button again, but this time we're going to manually define a new server, and we're going to pick SAP HANA Cloud. Now the landscape host, if you remember, is hanatrial.ondemand.com. So make sure that's selected, then click Next. It'll pull down the runtimes. Now then, maybe this information is pre-populated, maybe it's not. We need to give our application a name. I'm going to call it Hello. The account name, if you remember, that's your number with the trial on the end of it. And your username is just your number. And your password. And then click Finish. And at this point, it's going to push that application out onto the Hana Cloud and run it from the Hana Cloud. Now that's going to take a minute or two. So we'll come back after that's happened. And there we go. That's our Hello World application running on our Hana Cloud platform. You can see here, trial.hana on demand. So we now know that this page is now on our Hana Cloud platform. Indeed, if we go and have a look at our Hana cockpit, so we open our web browser and go back to our Hana cockpit, and now we go into Java applications, into the dashboard, and Java applications. You can see that our application is here. It's been unloaded. So that is how to configure your development environment, build your first application, upload it and run it on the Hana Cloud platform.